Stop eating this fridge staple. Linked to cancer risk. The shocking truth in your fridge. Right now in your kitchen, sitting quietly inside your refrigerator, there may be a food that seems ordinary, familiar, comforting. You've probably eaten it countless times. You may have served it to your family, packed it in lunchboxes, or grabbed it on a busy morning without a second thought. But here's the truth. This everyday staple isn't harmless. It's dangerous, and the evidence is no longer in doubt. The food I'm talking about is processed meat, ham, bacon, hot dogs, deli slices, sausages, salami. For years, these foods have been marketed as convenient, tasty, and even part of a balanced diet. But behind the packaging, behind the clever ads, lies a stark and chilling reality. These meats are directly linked to cancer. And not just suspected, not just maybe, but confirmed. The cancer connection. In 2015, the World Health Organization made an announcement that shook the medical world. After reviewing over 800 studies from 10 countries, their cancer research agency classified processed meat as a Group 1 carcinogen. What does that mean? It means the evidence is strong, consistent, and undeniable. Processed meat causes cancer. Not might. Not maybe. Not we think so. Causes. It now sits in the same category as asbestos, cigarettes, and plutonium. Think about that. Every time you eat a strip of bacon, a slice of salami, or a hot dog off the grill, you're putting into your body something that science has placed on the same shelf as smoking. The connection is clearest with colorectal cancer. Cancer of the colon and rectum, which is one of the most common and deadly cancers worldwide. The research shows that eating just 50 grams of processed meat a day, that's one hot dog or 2 slices of bacon, increases your risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. 50 grams. Not a pound. Not a feast. Just a snack-sized portion. Why it's so dangerous? You may wonder, what makes processed meat so deadly? The danger lies in how it's made. Nitrates and nitrites are added as preservatives to keep the color bright and extend shelf life. Inside your body, these chemicals can form nitrosamines, compounds that directly damage DNA. Smoking and curing meats introduce polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons and heterocyclic amines, both known carcinogens. The high salt content creates an inflammatory environment in your gut, weakening its natural defenses. The result? A toxic cocktail of compounds that silently attack your cells, disrupt your microbiome, and create the perfect storm for cancer to grow. And here's the sinister part. The damage builds quietly. You don't feel it right away. You don't taste the danger. You don't notice the harm. Until years later, when a diagnosis arrives like a thunderbolt. The illusion of safety. The meat industry doesn't want you to know this. They spend billions each year pushing the image of bacon as fun, hot dogs as family-friendly, deli slices as healthy and lean. Ads show smiling families, sizzling grills, Sunday brunch spreads. But they never show the CT scans. They never show the chemotherapy. They never show the statistics of rising colorectal cancer in younger adults. Why? Because processed meat is profitable, cheap to make, easy to market, and addictive in flavor. The salt, the fat, the smoke, all engineered to keep you coming back for more. And while the companies get richer, families get sicker. Real lives, real stories. Behind the science, behind the numbers, are real lives. Consider the young man in his 30s, fit, active, no family history, who suddenly finds himself facing stage 3 colon cancer. His doctors trace it back to years of deli sandwiches and bacon breakfasts. Or the mother of 2, diagnosed before she even turns 50. She never smoked, rarely drank, but processed meat was a constant in her fridge. These are not isolated cases. Colorectal cancer rates are climbing in young adults across the globe. And while genetics play a role, Diet is a powerful trigger. Every hot dog, every slice of ham, every seemingly harmless snack chips away at your health until one day, the damage is too great to ignore. The hidden cost. This isn't just about cancer. Processed meats are also linked to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and obesity. They overload your body with sodium, strain your blood vessels, and inflame your tissues. Yes, they may cost only a few dollars at the store, but the real cost is measured in hospital bills, lost years, and grieving families. The real cost is life itself. The wake-up call. So here's the wake-up call. The next time you reach for that pack of bacon, that bag of hot dogs, that stack of ham slices, pause. Look at it for what it truly is. Not just food, not just tradition, not just convenience, but a carcinogen, a danger disguised as dinner. And the question you must ask yourself is simple. Is the taste worth the risk? Is 5 minutes of flavor worth gambling with your future? Worth risking the years you could spend with your children, your grandchildren, your dreams? Because once you know the truth, you can't unknow it. Once the curtain is pulled back, you can't pretend it's just another meal. This is just the beginning. We've uncovered the classification. We've seen the science. We've heard the stories. But what's happening inside your body when you eat these fridge staples? How do they turn from innocent-looking foods into cancer-causing agents that wage war on your cells? That's where we go next. The hidden damage and why it matters. You've seen the headlines. You've heard the warnings. But maybe you're still asking yourself, why? Why does this food, something so ordinary, so familiar, create such devastating consequences inside the body? The answer lies in the invisible battlefield beneath your skin. Every bite you take is not just nourishment. It's chemistry. It's biology. It's a direct conversation with your cells. And when you eat processed meat, that conversation turns deadly. DNA under attack. Inside your gut, those nitrates and nitrites added to preserve color and flavor don't just sit harmlessly. They transform. They morph into compounds called nitrosamines. And nitrosamines don't play nice. They slip into your cells, find your DNA, the very code of life, and start breaking it apart. DNA is like the instruction manual for every cell. Damage it enough, and mutations form. Mutations that don't get fixed. Mutations that grow. Mutations that become cancer. This isn't speculation. This is measurable, observable science. Researchers can track the damage in lab studies, and they see the direct fingerprint of processed meat in cancer cells. Fire in the gut. But it doesn't stop at DNA. Processed meat is also a master of inflammation. High salt, preservatives, chemical additives, all of it irritates your gut lining. Imagine scraping sandpaper along the inside of your intestines day after day, year after year. That constant irritation forces your immune system to stay on high alert. Inflammation that never rests becomes dangerous. It's like a fire that smolders endlessly, weakening tissue, distorting cells, and again, paving the way for tumors to form. Your gut is supposed to be your frontline defense. With processed meats, it becomes a war zone. The gut microbiome hijacked. And then there's your microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in your intestines, guiding digestion, producing vitamins, training your immune system. When you eat fiber-rich foods like vegetables and whole grains, those microbes thrive. They protect you. They keep inflammation low. They even make anti-cancer compounds. But when processed meat dominates your diet, the balance shifts. Harmful bacteria multiply. Protective ones vanish. And instead of producing health-boosting chemicals, your gut begins producing more toxins, more carcinogens, more danger. It's not just you eating the meat. It's your microbes too. And when they're fed poison, they spread it. A dose that adds up. Now, some people hear all this and think, but I don't eat much. Just a slice here, a bite there. Surely that can't hurt. Here's the reality. It doesn't take much. 50 grams a day. Again, that's a single hot dog or a couple slices of bacon. Raises cancer risk by nearly 20%. That's not a huge portion. That's not indulgence. That's a snack. And risk doesn't reset with each meal. It compounds. Day after day. Week after week. Year after year. Every serving adds another drop into the bucket until the bucket overflows. Cancer isn't built in a day. It's built over decades of small, daily choices. And that's why the illusion of moderation is so dangerous. The myth of balance. You may have heard the phrase, everything in moderation. But tell me, would you accept moderation when it comes to cigarettes? To asbestos? To radiation? Would you tell your child it's fine to play with matches, as long as it's not every day? Processed meat is in the same category of risk. It's not about balance. It's about reality. And the reality is clear. This isn't food. This is a carcinogen. A little bit of poison is still poison. And poison doesn't negotiate. The bigger picture. And the story doesn't stop with cancer. The same mechanisms that drive mutations also drive heart disease. Salt and preservatives push up blood pressure, straining your arteries. Saturated fats clog vessels, starving your heart of oxygen. The same inflammation that scorches your gut also raises risk for type 2 diabetes. Hormones get disrupted. Insulin sensitivity collapses. Your body loses its ability to process sugar efficiently. So when you stock your fridge with these staples, you're not just opening the door to cancer. You're opening the door to a trio of killers: cancer, heart disease, and diabetes. It's not a small gamble. It's an all-in bet against your health. Why it matters now. And here's why this matters more today than ever before. Colorectal cancer rates are climbing in people under 50. Young adults, people in their 30s and 40s, are being diagnosed with a disease once thought of as an older person's problem. Processed foods, cheap and convenient, dominate modern diets. Never before in history have humans eaten this much bacon, ham, sausage, and deli meat. And while medical treatments improve, prevention is still far more powerful. Which means the choices you make now, today, in your kitchen, could be the difference between a future of health or a future of hospital rooms. So what can you do? If the danger is real, if the risk is building with every bite, how do you protect yourself and your family? The good news is this. While processed meat tears down, you have the power to build up. While it damages, you can heal. And the first step is simpler than you think. It begins with a choice, to purge the danger and replace it with foods that bring life, not death. That's what we'll uncover next. The empowerment shift. We've uncovered the science. We've seen the damage. We've faced the truth hiding in plain sight. But knowledge without action is just fear. And fear doesn't save lives. Action does. This is the part where you take back control. This is the part where you stop being a passive consumer and start being the defender of your own health, your family's health, and your future. It begins with a simple but powerful shift, removing the danger and replacing it with life. Step 1. Purge without mercy. Go to your fridge. Open it. Look inside. If you see bacon, hot dogs, ham, salami, bologna, pepperoni, smoked turkey slices, or any meat that has been cured, salted, or chemically preserved, remove it. Don't hesitate. Don't bargain. Don't say, "I'll finish what I bought," and then stop. No. Stop now. This isn't like throwing away leftovers. This is like disarming a time bomb. Each package is not just food. It's risk. And every day it sits there, the temptation lingers. Get rid of it. Today. Right now. This single act, this purge, is your declaration of freedom. Step 2. Restock with life. Now that you've cleared the danger, you have space. Space for foods that heal, energize, and protect. Fill your fridge with fresh poultry and fish, clean proteins without the chemical baggage, beans, lentils, chickpeas, plant proteins that nourish and fortify, a rainbow of vegetables and fruits, rich in fiber, antioxidants, and natural cancer fighters. Whole grains like quinoa, brown rice, oats, foods that fuel without inflammation. Healthy fats, avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil. When you open your fridge, it should no longer whisper danger. It should shout life. Step 3. Master the swap. Cravings will come. Habits don't vanish overnight. But you don't have to give up flavor to give up risk. You just have to swap smartly. Craving bacon? Roast strips of smoky mushrooms, or try marinated tempeh. Want a hot dog? Swap it for a turkey slider or a bean-based veggie sausage. Ham sandwich? Replace it with hummus, avocado, or grilled chicken breast. Pizza topping? Ditch the pepperoni for spiced chickpeas, roasted peppers, or falafel crumbles. It's not about losing tradition. It's about upgrading it. Every swap is a victory. Every replacement is one less carcinogen in your system. Step 4. Anchor to the big 3. There are endless tips out there. But if you want to create real, lasting prevention, focus on the big 3 lifestyle anchors. Move daily. Your body was built to move, not sit. Exercise lowers inflammation, boosts immunity, and keeps your gut healthy. Rest deeply. Sleep is when your body repairs DNA and flushes toxins. Protect it, guard it, respect it. Eat real, whole foods, minimally processed, full of fiber, rich in color. Let your plate look like nature, not a factory. Do these 3 things consistently, and you stack the odds in your favor. Cancer thrives in neglect. Health thrives in intention. Step 5. Protect the next generation. Children learn from what they see, not what they're told. If your fridge is filled with danger, they will grow up thinking danger is normal. If your table is stacked with processed meats, they will believe it's just what families eat. But if they see fruits, vegetables, whole foods, if they see you choosing life, they will inherit those habits. You are not just saving yourself. You are shaping your child's default setting for health. You are building a legacy of prevention. Because the fight against cancer doesn't end with you. It begins with the next generation. Step 6. Anchor to your why. Change isn't easy. There will be moments when convenience calls, when old cravings sneak in, when you wonder if it's really worth the effort. That's when you return to your why. Maybe it's your children. Maybe it's your partner. Maybe it's the future you still want. Traveling, laughing, walking into old age strong and vibrant. Whatever it is, lock it into your heart. Write it down. Remember it, because in the moment of temptation, taste is loud. But your why is louder. And your why will outlast 5 minutes of flavor. Step 7. Spread the fire. You now carry the truth. You've seen behind the curtain. You know the risks that the industry tries to hide. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Talk to your family. Warn your friends. Post the facts. Encourage your community. Every conversation is a spark. Every spark has the power to ignite change. Imagine what happens when thousands, millions of people purge their fridges, when families across the world stop buying the foods that fuel disease. The system only has power as long as we comply. Stop buying. Stop consuming. Stop funding the lie. And the system crumbles. Step 8. Forgive, but don't forget. Maybe you've eaten processed meat for years. Maybe you feel guilty. Maybe you feel scared. Don't. You can't rewrite the past, but you can redirect the future. The human body is remarkably resilient. The moment you stop feeding it poison, the moment you begin nourishing it with life, healing begins. Cells repair. Inflammation drops. Risk declines. So forgive yourself. Let go of the guilt. But never forget what you've learned. Because forgetting leads to relapse. And relapse leads back to risk. Stay awake. Stay aware. Stay alive. So now, you have the tools. You've purged. You've restocked. You've swapped. You've anchored your why. You've protected your family. The shift is not complicated, but it is powerful. And now comes the final step. The rallying call. The reminder of why this matters. The charge that will stay with you long after this voice fades. That's what comes next. The rallying call. You've heard the science. You've seen the danger. You've been given the tools to fight back. Now comes the most important part. What you do with this knowledge. Because knowing isn't enough. Knowing doesn't save lives. Doing does. Every moment from this point forward is a choice. A choice between life and risk. Between prevention and disease. Between being a victim of the food industry or being a warrior for your health. The fork in the road. Right now, you stand at a fork in the road. On one side, convenience, old habits, the same foods sitting in the same fridge, waiting for the same outcomes. On the other side, change, effort, awareness, but also freedom, strength, protection. Every meal is a decision point. Every shopping trip is a chance to cast your vote. For life or for risk. Which path will you choose? Which future will you create? The bigger picture. This isn't just about you. This is bigger. When you stop buying processed meats, you're not just protecting yourself. You're sending a message. You're refusing to fund an industry that profits off your illness. You're refusing to let corporations hide behind marketing slogans while they sell products linked to cancer. When enough people choose health, the shelves begin to change. The demand for poison drops, and companies are forced to create better, safer, cleaner foods. That's the revolution. It doesn't start in boardrooms. It starts in kitchens. It starts in fridges. It starts with you. The final test. But here's the test. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up and open your fridge, what will you see? Will you see the same packages of ham, hot dogs, and bacon staring back at you? The very foods you now know are linked to cancer? Or will you see a new fridge? One filled with real food, whole food, life-giving food? The answer to that question is the answer to your future. Don't wait for a diagnosis to scare you into action. Don't wait for regret to force your hand. Act before it's too late. The rally cry. Stop eating this fridge staple now. Stop letting corporations decide your health. Stop trading years of your life for minutes of convenience. Choose power. Choose prevention. Choose life. This isn't just about avoiding cancer. This is about living fully, deeply, freely, without fear, without regret, without chains. It's about waking up with energy, going to bed with peace, and knowing that your body is working with you, not against you. It's about looking into the eyes of your children, your partner, your loved ones, and knowing you've done everything you can to be here, strong, healthy, present, for as long as possible. This is your stand. This is your fight. This is your moment. The closing charge. So the next time you open your fridge, remember this voice. Remember the warning. Remember the science. Remember the risk. And then remember your power. The power to purge. The power to replace. The power to choose life. The world may not change overnight, but your fridge can. Your habits can. Your health can. And when enough people make that choice, the world will follow. So take a deep breath. Open your fridge. And make the decision that could change and even save your life. The choice is yours. The time is now. Stop eating this fridge staple. Choose life. And never look back.